Bitcoin has continued to drop lower and people are completely losing their minds over this price action. We really are starting to see a lot of fear seeping into the market. And again, just to recap from when we originally started to hit those highs up to now, it has been a 3-week pullback. So we're not looking at something particularly small at the moment. But again, the big thing I was saying to you is that we had such a strong rally that we have to expect, a few, just to be honest, kind of annoying pullbacks, right? I mean, this was quite a strong pullback, this was quite a weak pullback in and of itself, and then we immediately started to rally up again. So to see that we're pulling back by something like this again, to me, isn't really concerning. What I really like seeing is actually just behind me on, this is hard, on that chart right there. That is the chart. We have the dollar, and this is such a cool setup. I'm so happy to be back here. We have the dollar right here, and what we saw with the dollar was very, very interesting. This actually relates massively to what I want to talk to you about in today's video, because the dollar ended up really rallying up very, very high. We're on the weekly time frame right now, and we've exactly hit the area that I was predicting as potentially a bit of a target for Bitcoin. I'm sorry, for the dollar. So that is very, very impressive indeed. And since that point, we have just kind of been, slowing down a little bit, I guess is the way to put it. We've got about 4 hours left on this daily candle. It does look like, the dollar has potentially encountered a little bit of resistance right here. So that's interesting. That's nice to see, we could be looking at potentially getting a bit of a reversal. And at the very same time, the S&P 500 has really, seen a bit of a smackdown. It rallied up a little bit, at the very beginning of this month, but these last days have been pretty brutal for the S&P 500. And this is actually a good thing for Bitcoin, in my opinion. What we've seen is the dollar has massively shot up, but I just don't think Bitcoin has seen that kind of loss. At the time where the S&P 500 was really getting smashed, Bitcoin was actually kind of slowly going up. And actually we can, if I just bring this on a different chart, you'll see what I mean by this. And this is all very exciting because when we start talking about where Bitcoin could go, I think you're going to really like what I have to say in this video. If we throw the S&P 500 up on here, and we're looking at this on the 4-hour time frame, you can start to see right here that actually, my bad, the S&P 500 and Bitcoin very much in line, to be honest. Interestingly, the S&P 500 went up when Bitcoin dumped. So that's the decoupling thing here that I've been talking about a little bit, where it kind of looks like Bitcoin's just kind of, it's not quite moving the same as the S&P 500 at the moment. The dump for the S&P 500 happened earlier than the dump for Bitcoin, but right here, S&P 500 has dropped by a lot, but I don't think Bitcoin has, to that same extent. And again, with the dollar shooting up so high, we haven't seen particularly, huge corresponding weakness for Bitcoin. When the dollar massively shot up right here, Bitcoin kind of did nothing, for them. It dropped by a little bit, but not very much. To me, this is fairly promising. It's still broadly moving, opposite to what the dollar does. So if the dollar is strong, Bitcoin's getting smashed a little bit. So broadly speaking, that's still the same thing happening right now, but we are starting to see some small differences, which is good. That's what we want to see if we want to be bullish on this market. Now, the other thing to keep in mind as well is we still just haven't dropped by much. From our high to our current price, we're down by about 13%, and down to our low, we're down by about 13.5%. It's really nothing crazy, in my opinion, right? I'm not actually particularly worried about what I'm seeing right here. What I am a little bit concerned about is that, a pretty good, strong indicator as far as resistance goes, the Ichimoku cloud is coming up. Now, the last time it wasn't particularly useful on the 4-hour time frame, and the time before that, it wasn't particularly useful. It wasn't even great the time before that. We did get one very strong bounce off it, and then over here, it slowed down the dump, so that's useful as well. But, previously, we've seen much clearer interactions with the Ichimoku cloud. Actually, to be fair, 4-hour time frame is looking a little bit dodgy. There's some really, really, really nice resistance hits over here, some nice big support pumps as well. It's not the biggest obstacle for Bitcoin, but it is still something that I think is worth paying attention to, especially because it lines up with an area that we already know is significant. Now, we know 22.7 is an important level for Bitcoin. It's been an important level for a very long time. And one of the key things I warned you about when we fell down here is that, we could be looking at finding resistance here, which is unfortunately more or less what happened, especially with this wick right here. We didn't quite get up there, but we don't need to. These are rough ranges, right? Bitcoin topped out at 22.6, basically. That's close enough to 22.7. The wicks here, for example, show that there is some margin for error. So to me, this is, Bitcoin falls, slowly rallies up, gets rejected, falls again, and the problem is, if we zoom in even further, we're kind of doing the same thing again. If we look at this support area right here, or now resistance, this is where Bitcoin was able to find a little bit of support after the initial dump. But now we're kind of finding resistance there, which means that we could be looking to drop down to our next support level, right? That's obviously what usually happens, right? Is when you lose one area of support, you're usually going to go down to the next one. And the next one in our case, according to my chart, stands at about 21.3 to 21.5. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of support. And again, I'm really not that worried. I don't think that there's anything particularly crazy or concerning on this chart, anything that I'm like particularly worried about. It's just not really something that I'm scared of. If we look at this on the daily time frame with the Ichimoku cloud, this is again something that I've been speaking to you guys about for a while, and there's just so much good support down here that it looks like a really good opportunity to buy. As far as I'm concerned, I think that one of basically the big thing I'm seeing on this chart, to be honest with you guys, is just an opportunity to get some nice, relatively compared to before, relatively cheaper Bitcoin. Obviously everybody was foaming at the mouth and just FOMOing in as well, at the top right here, and now we've got basically a 13% better price, and I maintain my bullish position. I've had my bullish position extremely vocally since back down here where I was talking about $30K, $40,000 Bitcoin and so on. I still think that's very much possible, and I think that this is a really nice pullback. I'm a little bit concerned that if we do fall down here, we start to form potentially a head and shoulders pattern. If we found support up here and then found resistance, if we find support down here and then find resistance up here, that could definitely show, especially the resistance hit here, that could definitely show that we're in a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. So that is something to be worried about, because it's a fairly long-term head and shoulders pattern, right? It would take about 2.5 months, for that to develop. So I think that is something that I would personally, at least pay attention. I'm not saying I'd be worried about it, but definitely something I'd be paying attention to. But for now, what I think is, much more likely is, come down here and then rally up. Maybe we get a little bit of a liquidity grab and then go up. But I'm seeing one of those two things happen. I'm definitely expecting that if we do get a bounce up, we're probably going to be reaching that 25K resistance area, and that we're probably going to break it as well. And again, I think a big part of that is because we're actually just coming down to find really good support. I mean, this one day Ichimoku cloud is no small deal in my opinion. I mean, look at how strong it's been as resistance. We first encountered it as resistance back in March of 2022 with this most recent cloud, with this exception right here where it briefly flipped bullish a couple of times. We found a heavy rejection here, another heavy rejection, another extremely heavy rejection, and then over here, still getting a couple, small rejections here, big rejection here, big rejection here, and another big rejection. So very, very frequent, a very, very reliable indicator. On this occasion here, we did get a bounce. It wasn't crazy, to be honest. It wasn't particularly useful as support. In this case here, very similar. Got a nice big bounce, but beyond that, not particularly useful unless we go further back, and we can see that again, historically, this indicator has been, to be honest, in my opinion, nothing short of a miracle. Basically just predicting really, really nice bits of support for us. Very nice as resistance. Didn't quite work over here. Really, really, really consistent support, and very consistent resistance as well. So I really like this indicator. I've covered it with you a million times. If you want to learn more about it, then type this into the YouTube search bar and check it out. But we do have that support right here as well, which I'm just happy to see. It is definitely something that's caught my attention, something that I'm liking very much indeed. And again, it just kind of paints the image for me that while everybody is starting to get a little bit scared, and we're not quite seeing that with the fear and greed index. This is one of the times where it doesn't happen often, but rarely, I'm actually diverging a little bit. I'm going away from the fear and greed index. Usually my analysis and the fear and greed index kind of converge and come together, but in this case they're not. We are seeing a very stable fear and greed index. 50 today, 49 yesterday, 50 last week, 56 last month. It's pretty much just decided to flatline over here. We were flatlining down at very low levels. Now we're flatlining at neutral levels. It's neither here nor there. I definitely think the market is more fearful than this, to be honest with you guys, but that's not really showing over here. Bottom line, we got up to about 62 and we're now down to 50. I would have liked to see that we're significantly lower. I think we should be anyway. Like I said, to me, it feels like people are much more scared of what's actually happening here. But, we still have a good bullish market structure. We're still above key resistance areas. We're still above, that pre-FTX high. That's a really, really important level. I don't want to see Bitcoin losing that. If Bitcoin does lose shows that, then there is still a lot of support lower, right? So it's hard for me to kind of shake this bullish bias a little bit. I didn't shake off the bullish bias when we were down here. In fact, I developed the bullish bias, to be honest with you guys, when we were down here. So I think that I'd still hold on to it until this support area fails here, which is quite low. It's at 18.4. I definitely don't think we're going down that low, but I think that's a nice little thing to potentially be expecting. Also with the inflation numbers, I covered this with you in one of my big videos that I made. It's like a 25-minute video on like the big bull case for Bitcoin. Go back and watch that if you're not subscribed, if you haven't just seen it for whatever reason. You're going to find that one very, very interesting because I spoke about inflation data, and I believe we have a fresh round of numbers like tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting to look out for as well. So again, looking like we're in a really nice kind of healthy pullback, all things considered. I mean, I'm really not too worried about what I'm seeing. Look at this nice rising volume as we're moving up, and then volume really depleting as we're moving down. It's not the strongest indicator, but it definitely is working in our favor. Another thing that I really like, though, and this is on a much larger time frame, is actually to do with the monthly time frame. Now, take a look at this. This is not something that I talk about particularly often, but now this is actually to do with the Williams percent range indicator. And if you don't know what this is, or if you want me to make a full video on this indicator specifically, just let me know by telling me make a video about the Williams indicator. But what we have right here is basically, consider this like a version of the RSI, right? It kind of tells you when the market's overbought and oversold. And the reason that I think this is particularly interesting is if we look at how long Bitcoin spent in oversold territories during previous bear markets, we've got something really, really interesting here, something that's actually really caught my attention. I'm not going to draw it for you because it's going to take me a long time, but if we actually if I'm just lazy and I show you the chart that I already made for this, you can see right here that on this occasion, Bitcoin took 305 days to go from oversold territory back into neutral territory. On this occasion here, 304 days to go from oversold back into neutral. On this occasion, 180 days, so half basically of what we saw before. And on this occasion, up to now, we are at 306 days, right in line with the previous market bottoms that we have seen in this market. Does that mean we've bottomed out now? Obviously not. Stop getting so excited. But what that does mean is that we're very much in line with what we've seen previously, and we're actually double what we saw the most recent little bear market that we had as well, which I think requires some attention. I'm not saying that, it means that we're due to recover back up, but while everybody else is really scared and worried about what's going on, what I'm seeing, guys, to be honest, I mean, like, fuck me, I'm only saying what I'm seeing here, is that Bitcoin formed a really strong rally off new lows and has managed to maintain support levels, is still overall in a structure of higher lows and higher highs. It's got one-day Ichimoku cloud support. It's got that big monthly chart right here. It's even got one more chart, which I really want to cover with you guys. I'm not going to talk about that in this video because it actually requires a whole other video in and of itself. It's kind of similar to some of the content you've seen from me previously, but I haven't spoken about this specifically yet. If you want me to make a video on the very long-term chart, again, just one specific video on a huge thing that I've seen in the chart, let me know about that in the comments as well. Just tell me, make the monthly chart video. These kind of things are very useful. I read my comments every day, by the way, and my staff members do as well, but they don't need to. I read them anyway. So literally every comment you write, I will see. I don't necessarily respond to all of them, but I can if you want me to. If you specifically want my response, just tell me that, and I'll try to respond to you. But it just takes quite a lot of time. There's obviously a lot of comments, but this is a pretty good chart. I like what I'm seeing. It's definitely very promising. It shows me what I want, right? It shows me that the market isn't actually in a particularly concerning position overall, in my opinion, like considering these kind of signs, right? I mean, it's still in a bear market. It's still a very bad downtrend, bad economy, whatever. But there's a lot of good stuff happening on this chart, and what I really like, what I'm getting that I want, is that while we're starting to see these developments, nobody believes it, right? I mean, nobody wants to believe it. That's the bigger thing, right? It's not about like, nobody's buying the bull case. It's that nobody wants to fucking talk about it, right? Like, it's too much to just discuss this. Like, you're demonized for it. You're laughed at. You're ridiculed. Guys, I've said this a million times. I'll say it a million more times. I am not here to make friends. I'm not here to get in a circle, pat each other's back, rub each other off, and talk about how, we're all going to get rich off some fucking shit coin together. I'm here to make money. That's it. Point blank. Simple. I'm here to make money, and that means I do not want to be in agreement with the 90%. if I find that I come here on YouTube, I'm telling you guys my analysis, and everybody and their nan agrees with me, I'm not interested anymore. That's telling me I'm probably on the wrong side of things. Most people lose money. If you find that you discuss crypto with your friends and you all agree with the same thing, I don't know. I mean, you know, that's not the position that, you know, it depends on who your friends are, obviously, but you know what I mean? I mean, you know, statistically, you know, like you fill in the blanks. I don't want to say anything bad about you or your friends, obviously, but you know, I mean, this is money. This is trading at the end of the day. We're not here to be friends. We're here to make money. So, you know, when I'm seeing that people just outright don't even want to talk about these things, you know, that to me in and of itself, you know, again, with all these signs, it's just something that I'm paying attention to, you know, and I am also obviously ready to position myself in this. Look at this beautiful Fibonacci retracement from our absolute low up to our high of our little cycle so far. We are at 3.3 support. We're very close to 3.82 support. I mean, it does look really good. Right here, we bounced off 3.3 support. Nothing particularly strong with this bounce right here. This is the fib retracement that we're much more interested in. It looks really good to me, guys. Like, I'm actually really liking what I'm seeing. You know, a long off here, for example, up to this high is a 15% move. It's actually pretty big, right? And that gets way more exciting when we consider that we've got amazing offers running with the exchanges linked down below. There is a huge offer with OKX and Bybit. OKX is actually, I don't know if this link works here. Yeah, OKX has actually restarted their offer for you guys this time. Unfortunately, it's a little bit lower, but we do have up to 20K in rewards right here that lasts until the end of the month. If you missed the previous one, get in on this one. Still, you know, to get your first 10K up to 10K, all you have to do is register on OKX. In order to get up to 10K again, all you have to do is deposit anything more than $50 and trade a little bit, right? And then you can boost your winnings even more by trading. So there's some cool stuff going on, and Bybit's just giving you a flat 30K, but up to 30K, starting at $3 and then up to 30K, depending on what you deposit and trade with. So these are huge offers. Head on over to the rewards hub on Bybit to get it. OKX as well, with the links in the description below to sign up to both of them, with really, really nice trading opportunities shaping up in the market, which you can more or less trade risk-free with these exchanges. It's a really compelling offer, right? I mean, you know, you don't stand to lose anything, but if you make money with these kind of trade setups, 15% on 10x leverage, I don't even want to talk about it. It's fucking filthy. It's 150% profit. Even with 5x leverage, this is still 75% profit, so nearly doubling what I would put in there. Definitely something that I am interested in looking at in terms of positions, but as usual, every position that I take will be shared inside a VIP first and only. So definitely go ahead and check that out as well with the steps on screen. Just 3 very simple clicks. Join my Telegram channel, click on my name, and then click on send message. That's it. Very, very straightforward. So I'll see you on the other side as well. That's a direct chat with me. You can ask me about how to join VIP, see all my trades and all that good stuff. Yeah, we are, one of the concerning things is we are actually below this trend line right here. So while we are still maintaining a pattern of higher highs and higher lows, we have unfortunately lost a critical support level. So, you know, we could just hope that this is a deviation. Look at this, looks something a little bit like this. So, you know, we could just hope that this is a bit of a deviation, you know, and that the market, after, you know, messing about down here a little bit, is just going to come back up. That would obviously be very nice. I don't know if it is a deviation. It's been a little while that we've been stuck below this level now. I mean, we've had, you know, one daily close below it already, and we're about to potentially have a second daily close. And to be fair, the good news is that, again, this is happening while the dollar is at resistance. S&P 500 is kind of at support too. So I don't know, there might be something here, you know, as far as, you know, a little bit of a reversal and the market's going up again. And, you know, if that does happen, I just think Bitcoin's in a really good position. You know, I mean, I'm really... I'm just, even though we've lost the support, I might be being naive here, to be honest, but I mean, it's just not looking that concerning to me, even with that in mind. Like, I mean, we're not even far below it yet, but, you know, like, even if we do drop down to like 21.5, which is basically our prior low, this is like the floor for me, right? Like, I really don't want to see Bitcoin lose this level. We could, and if we did, like I said earlier in the video, we definitely could still be bullish in my opinion. But you know, what I ideally want to see is that we hold this, just so that we don't stop setting higher lows in this trend. You know, and so recovering back above this line would be a very nice, strong sign, and definitely something that I am anticipating that Bitcoin will be able to do. Let's take a quick look at gold. It's been a minute. yeah, I mean, it's kind of just looking like it's at support, more or less. I think the VPVR would show that to us pretty clearly. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Wait for this to load up. Oh, it's not loading up on this chart. Oh, we don't have volume data, right? Okay, that's a little bit annoying. But yeah, I mean, if we did have the VPVR, I'm sure that we would see, you know, I mean, a nice big spike around basically where we are right now. It looks like I mean, look at the kind of reversals and so on that have happened in this range. It's a big box. It stretches from 1760 to 1820. That's a $60, $70 range. It's definitely not a small range, 3%. But it's a good support area for gold. So I don't know. It's not, again, not something that I think requires action right now, but it's definitely interesting. And one of the key reasons I'm interested in gold, along with the S&P 500 and so on, is because these are tradable markets on Prime XBT. You can trade all of these markets on Prime XBT with just a Bitcoin deposit. They're also offering you up to $7,000 in deposit bonuses. So literally, whatever you deposit when you use my link, you're going to get 7% back as a deposit bonus, which is free money in your account that you can trade with. So again, you can risk that money. You can do whatever you like with it. If you make money, it's yours. If you don't, it's like demo money, doesn't really matter. Also, I'm probably going to be doing another video with this lovely gentleman either tomorrow or somewhat soon. So make sure you are looking out for that. The last time I did something with him, you guys loved it. It was one of the best conversations I've ever had as a crypto trader, especially on YouTube. This guy is probably my favorite guest I've had on the channel so far. Oh, it's hard to pick though. I've had a lot of really good guests on this channel. I've had 𝐁𝐻𝐍𝐵 on the channel. He might have to... Anyway, I'm not going to have this debate right now, but he's cool. He's coming on relatively soon, so definitely check that out if that's something you think you'd be interested in. And Prime XBT with access to those markets is very, very unique. Again, just with a Bitcoin deposit, it is super, super cool. So check that out in the description down below. If you combine Bybit, OKX, and Prime XBT, you're getting like 30 plus 20, although this potentially means... plus 10 again. I don't quite understand. Oh, my bad. Yeah, so this is how you start earning again. So yeah, you got 30 plus 20, 50K here, 57K in total in bonuses. So there you go. Cool offers there. And you know, a pretty good, you know, market setup. I mean, yeah, it's obviously a bit of a deep pullback. The only reason that it looks somewhat questionable is because we've already had this one here, you know, and we've basically pulled back to the same. Like if this pullback stopped over here, it would be so routine. But the fact that we've kind of lost this support area now is like, you know, I mean, I didn't want to see that happen. You know, I mean, it's fine, obviously, but you know, I didn't really want to see that happen. But you know, we're here. We have good support. You know, I feel like people just can't really see that. You know, to me, it just, you know, I don't know. I've been a trader for, you know, basically 6 years now, I think, like as of this month or next month. And this is the kind of setup that to me just usually just kind of ends up, you know, flipping and, you know, reversing and continuing the uptrend. And that would be nice. That would definitely be nice. So we'll see. I think a little bit of this is going to revolve around what happens with the inflation data and so on. So like I said, I think that comes out tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure. I'll check again. You know, so that's what I'm seeing right there. Let me know if you want to see that big monthly time frame video. I'm very, very excited for that one. And I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers. Make sure you hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, get access to your 30K on Bybit, 20K on OKX, and 7K on Prime XBT by following the links in the description down below, and to join my group to get my trading course and all that good stuff. Here are the steps on screen. I'll see you all in the next one. I'm out. Cheers.